Respected Dr. Amar Patnaik, former Member of Parliament. As long as he was in the Parliament, he was very, very active in the technology matter, sir. And that spree continued today when I met him when he came here. My esteemed colleague, Mr. Vinayak Godse, CEO of DSCI, another doyen in the area of cyber. Mr. Ramesh Kailasam, a person who has championed the technology in various aspects over a period of time. Mr. Sudhir Sahu, Mr. Ashish Raut from Data Safeguard, Professor Dr. J.S. Sodi, and Mr. S. Krishnan Absentia, Secretary, Mighty, distinguished delegates. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude. I'm truly delighted to come over here, and my gratitude are to the Data Safeguard, particularly Sahu brothers as well as Deepak Sahu, for inviting me to this important conference there. Friends, privacy has not been Indian culture, and we know from our mythology, it was never a privacy in our culture. But then why privacy has assumed an important subject in today's era? It's because of the digital, different kind of a technology now we are entering into. I don't know how much time. They will give me 5 minutes or 7 minutes time, obviously, because we have to listen to our chief guest. But I'll give a very simple example to you, practical example. You do the UPI transactions. Normally, there are billions of transactions today, every day. We use from our phone, tap to any app, payment fintech app, and open the account, enter the detail, whosoever has to make the payment, amount, and other details there, and commit it. How does the entire transaction moves there? From my mobile phone, it goes to the telecom service provider, and before telecom service provider, it goes to the tower. Then it goes to the telecom service provider servers. From there, it goes to the NPCI to the bank, which debits my account and again credit to the other account there, and same route is followed back. So, how many heterogeneous players are there in between from my mobile phone to the person whom account I'm credited? Now, at every stage, no matter, somebody may say that this is a encryption, is an encrypted pipe is there, you can go through that. Certainly it is not. Every point of time, you have to decrypt it. Even if it is encrypted, you have to decrypt it. Decryption and then further transfer. So many players are there. And what happens when you commit the transactions? Details of your phone numbers, your software, your geolocations, and every parameter travels along with the entire communication. The entire data is very, very important. Not only your financial data, your account number, your UPI number, but your geolocation also is very, very important. And data is collected at every source. Now, if someone taps the data and sells the data, we came for this seminar. I was talking to one of they're saying that you have deposited the cards there and you will get a prize. I was telling Vinayak, we have come to the DPDP and we have first infringement of the privacy. Telling him, now how does he calculate that? They take the data, sell the data. That's what it happens. So the data, when it collects my UPI transaction, everyone collect the data there. They may sell it. And data transfer, selling is also important because we have to create a new product there. One of the reasons that India is lacking behind in creating a good product because the data is not available. The agencies which are involved, They have to take the onus of bringing the equipment and training. So the data selling for variety of purposes, good and bad, is very, very important there. But then we need to regulate it. We need to do that. And exactly DPDP is brought for this purpose. Now, if you do the international transactions there, whose transactions happens there? On the SWIFT network everywhere, entire is a digital data transfer there. And we don't know where the data is going, where the data is coming. It's very, very difficult to know. And therefore, the regulation of the data is a must. As Mr. Krishnan said, that this is a principal act, and lot of is a good journey to implement it. And same thing Mr. Vinayak also said. Well, it's a principal act, and that itself is an issue there, because it's a principle. Implementation is a bigger issue there. And I must also clarify one thing. There is often myth there that DPDP does not regulate a organization. It regulates the data. That point should be very clear. It does not regulate a organization. It regulates the data. Whatever the data they have collected today, organizers, that's a separate aspect. When they sell the data, when they transfer the data, that gets regulated under the DPDP Act there. That point should be clear. So we need a framework to regulate the organizations also. And I'm sure the government will bring those kind of a thing. With the government was planning to bring Digital India Act, I'm sure they will take care of address it. Friends, in this technology era, when we are dealing with the convergence of technologies and across the global transactions, privacy becomes important, because every day and now we get a call. You have seen digital arrest. Supreme Court has formed a committee to find addressal toward the digital arrest cases there. This data selling, it becomes the part of the cyber crime, the part of the cyber frauds also there. So is an important aspect of the act. Well, they have given 18 months time. We must also understand that there are basic issues. The consent, as Mr. Vinayak said, consent is the underlying principle of this act. One has to give a consent. One has to take a consent and provide a framework. A different languages kind of a consent notice should be there. That consent, then how to retain the data, how to process the data. It is not only a issue of the process there, it becomes an issue of technology structures there. And if you see the regulators, RBI and all other SEBI regulator, they have a different aspects of the privacy. They have different process to do that. So everything must be regulated. Everything must be included in the technology architecture. So there is a process which the DPDP Act provides it. There's a security aspects which the DPDP Act also relies on somewhere else. Then there is a technology architecture also. So the entire aspect of implementation, 18 months the government has given, 1 month, 2 months have already passed. There are big challenges for us there. We need to look at the data assets, where all the data assets lying in our organization. And every organization has a legacy, has a current equipment there. There are different heterogeneous elements are there. So we need to really work hard to identify the where are the technology assets are there. How our processes are there. Once we understand the process, once we understand what data we collect there, where the data lies, then we'll have to create those consent form, consent frameworks. Apart from that, there are legal issues also there. In this whole digital world, largely reliance is made on outsourcing. And I don't think any organization can function without outsourcing the activity. Look at the bank. But one feature of the DPDP Act, I must highlight it. The DPDP Act, government has taken the power to shut down any data center if the data leakage is very large. Now, it's very simple one-line statement, sir. But what does it mean? It means that all your critical assets has to be inside your organization. You can't outsource. That's it. One-liner means like that. So this whole concept needs to be looked from process, technology, and the legal, which I was talking about legal. I do the vendor arrangement there. I share the data with them. They need to follow the same privacy principle as I follow, and they have to protect the data from the security and privacy point of view. So the entire legal framework with respect to vendor, with respect to service provider will come over there. Well, it is simple to say, but the implementation journey is very, very difficult, particularly when we have the Principal Act where the procedures are not defined. I will have my own procedure, you will have your own procedure. While this may be all right there, because privacy aspect is across the board there. Haldiram also is doing it, and any small tea vendor also must be doing it. It will also apply Privacy Act because he also collect the UPI payment from you. So the processes are different, risks are different will come, but then there will be what is required from the government to create more awareness programs like this or other, because more FAQs coming there, more it will facilitate us to understand the act, nuances of the act, particularly the fintech sector, the health sector. They are going to be very, very challenging in terms of implementation. And when we have no culture of privacy, 98% organizations are not privacy compliant there. Laying the framework, there is no security, there is no privacy policy. So it will have to be created. I am sure 18 months government has put it, but the government will be little more considerate to not to impose penalties. The fear is 200 crore and 250 crore. So government certainly will be, we understand it, and they will not impose penalty. Maybe another, if after passing of 18 months, maybe another 6 months or so. If you look at the example of GDPR, that act, the framework which existing there, that has not yet been implemented 100%, and they are thinking of revising it because many more concept has come up. But one thing is there, we have entered into a very, very important part. This is the important act. This is a kind of a impact act which is necessary, particularly in the emerging area. When you look at the AI aspect there, it's a very important step, and I'm sure this important step will get will give us a lot of business kind of a thing. So far, our country is now recognized from the data safe country. I and Vinayak has been going, and I have been leading delegation going to European Union to get it. They then never gave us. No European company comes and set up the infrastructure here. They set up the things in a private kind of a contract there. So I think this act will pave the way for recognition, accreditation, and then enhancing the business. And this may set up, if the government takes steps, it will set up is a big kind of a steps which will help us to create more data kind of a centric kind of a industry activity in the country. I thank once again the Data Safeguard for inviting me. Without taking much time, I want to hear the chief guest. Sir, to you. Thanks very much.